I-28F have been best friends with Nina 28F for 12 years now. We became especially close about 10 years ago when she confided in me that she was gay and depressed. She comes from a conservative Christian family. She was dealing with a lot of personality conflict and was considering uninstalling herself for a while. I became her support and cheerleader and encouraged her to get therapy. I went with her to LGBT support groups, and while her mental health improved, she decided to stay in the closet. She dated a few girls through the years disguised as close friends and roommates. I was the only one who knew about her relationships. Now, like many female BFFs, we spend a lot of time together and know an unhealthy amount of info about each other's private and personal life. She has also supported me through my difficult times and is truly my sister in spirit. I have been dating my BF30M for a bit over a year now, and things are getting serious. We are at point of discussing future plans like moving in together and timeline for marriage, etc. We have a good relationship overall. Now, 2 weeks ago, on her birthday, Nina finally came out. First to her family, and then on FB to everyone. A lot of her family has abandoned her over it. So I invited her to spend Thanksgiving with us. I'm Canadian. We had our own small dinner with just some close friends on Saturday. At dinner, Nina gave an emotional speech and thanked us for loving her as she is, and then thanked me especially for saving her life, her words, and supporting her all these years. Well, after everyone left, I could say my boyfriend looked irate. I asked him what was wrong, and he suddenly kinda exploded like you knew all she was gay. I was like, yeah. And I thought he was upset I never shared it with him and started explaining that it was not my secret to share. He goes on to explain he feels betrayed that I had a close friend who would be sexually interested in me. He went on about all the times I spent the night at her house, even sleeping in same bed with her, and concluded that I have basically been cheating on him this whole time. I was baffled and mad and answered probably louder than I should have that he was insane and she is my best friend and basically my sister, and what he was accusing me of was sick, and he needs to either apologize or GTFO of my apartment. Well, he did. And later texted me to uninvite me to his family's dinner, which was on Monday. He said if he was this close to a girl, I'd be mad too. I think his comparison is insane. Anyways, it's been almost a week and neither of us thinks we should apologize. What do you think? What would you do? I'm tired of living like this. Even a breakup would be less frustrating at this point. He claims I disrespected our relationship, and I think he is way out of line. Who is wrong here? TLDR. I knew my BFF was a lesbian and I spent a lot of time with her. Boyfriend found out she is gay and is accusing me of disrespecting our relationship. Did I? What would you do/say? Relevant comments. Commenter. Yeah, let this be a breakup. Your boyfriend is acting like an asshole and an infant. Of course, you don't out someone else, and you two are nearly in your 30s. You should both have no difficulty at this point having platonic friendships with people who may also be, generally speaking, sexually attracted to people of your gender. I could give him a bit of a pass on some initial shock, but that is now over. It's been a week. If he is sticking to his guns on feeling betrayed and believing your friendship was inappropriate, that he is lacking in some fundamental trust and respect for you. OP. Of course, you don't out someone else. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear it from someone else. It's such a personal secret, it never even occurred to me to share it with any of my partners. With anyone, really. Update 1. Hello all. While my post exploded, I did not see that coming. Sorry, it's been a while. The day after I posted my original story, my dad suffered an accident at work which led to him being hospitalized. He is okay now, resting at home, and has not suffered any long-term injuries. I did eventually read all the comments. Thank you for all the love and support and advice. To the LGBT folks who thank me for keeping my friend's secret, I did what any person should do. I hope each and every one of you find great friends and a strong support system. To people defending him being upset, I just hope no one ever trusts you with their secret. Third-party secret has nothing to do with your relationship. Don't share other people's stuff for sake of honesty in relationship. WTF? Also, here is my response to a few common questions. No, I still do not agree my situation was same as him having a super intimate straight female friend. I am straight. I have been close with Nina with over a decade. Not once we had an awkward or romantic moment. The closest example would be him having a gay male friend. Also, I know I am going to be crucified for saying this, but male and female friendship with the same gender are different. Males and females bond differently with their own gender. Not always, of course, but generally female besties are closer than male besties in sense of physical boundaries. I can understand his disappointment. I was ready to comfort and assure him that me not sharing Nina's secret was not due to lack of my trust in him, but in no way I feel like I betrayed him or prioritized Nina over him. I always spent a healthy amount of time with him. We both agreed we want a little independence in our relationship. It was one of the things that made us a better couple. During my time in the hospital, my BF came around once asking about my dad and asked to put our fight on pause. I agreed initially, but then a few days ago, he came around again and we got lunch, and as we were talking, he said something like, "When you are feeling better and are ready to discuss and apologize, we should talk." And that just set me off, but I stayed calm and said that I apologize for yelling and nothing more. I refused to apologize for keeping a secret, and I am expecting his apology for accusing me of cheating. Long story short, I broke up with him. He has been sending me texts ranging from "let's stay friends" to "he never wants to see me again" to mild anger and today a "let's talk again." I'm done. IDK if this is healthy, but I am already over it. Nina is truly my sister in spirit and has been in my life for much longer. We are going to Cuba with a few other friends for winter holidays. Thanks again for your support. Maybe I'll meet someone. Tongue sticking out. I know there are plenty of men out there without a pornographic view on lesbians and with better understanding of female friendship. Edit to add, aha, I love how people are piling on about the sleeping in same bed. She is my close friend with zero sexual tension. I'm straight, so if he can't trust me around someone I'm not attracted to, why bother dating him? What if I ever make a male friend? Will I not be allowed to be near him? People are capable of non-intimate physical contact. So if he can't wrap his tiny mind around it, it's up to him. TLDR. He insisted I betrayed him. I dumped him. Relevant comments. Commenter. I'm a dude. My best friend is gay. I'm 100% straight. I've shared beds and tents with him. My wife gives zero fudges. Don't listen to the insecure trolls and enjoy the single life. Smiley face. Opie. Good for you. It's about time men get close and comfy with their best friends without judgment from trolls. Commenter. Yay. I wish I could have seen his face when you calmly held the rage boiling up and said, "I did nothing wrong. I won't apologize." Sweet, sweet justice. Have a great friendship with your spirit sister. Opie. Gotta say I am proud. I regret losing my cool first time around, and I was ready to apologize for it too. Update 2. Hey Reddit. So, things have taken a bit of a dramatic turn. I didn't think I'd be back with another update, but here we are. So, where did I leave off? Oh right, I had broken up with my BF, was gearing up for a fun, carefree winter holiday in Cuba with Nina and some friends, and was feeling over it. I mean, I'd emotionally checked out of the whole situation, but apparently, life loves to keep things messy. After the breakup, things were pretty chill for a week or so. I was getting ready for the trip, hanging out with Nina, and just enjoying the peace. But my now ex-BF was clearly not over it, because one day, out of the blue, he shows up at my apartment. Not a call, not a text, just boom. There he is on my doorstep, holding a box of what I assumed were my things. Honestly, at first, I was ready to get this over with, return whatever he'd left at my place, and be done with it. But no, this wasn't just a drop-off. Oh no, this was the beginning of what I now call the apology-turned-psychodrama. He starts off calm, apologizing for his accusations, saying he was working through some things, and maybe reacted poorly, understatement of the year. But then he keeps talking, and it spirals into this bizarre confession that he's been reflecting on our relationship, and get this, he started to question his own sexuality. Yeah, you read that right. Apparently, he might not be 100% straight either. Cue my jaw hitting the floor. He's pacing around my living room, talking about how Nina's coming out stirred something in him, and he's been feeling confused for a while now, but didn't want to face it. And at this point, I'm just standing there like, what the actual hell is going on right now? I didn't even know how to respond. It felt like I'd stumbled into some alternate universe where he's now the one coming out to me. Like, okay, dude, where was this self-reflection before you accused me of cheating? I didn't really have much to say, other than, okay? I mean, what do you say to your ex who's just dropped this bomb on you after accusing you of having a secret affair with your lesbian best friend? He eventually left after this awkward hug, which I definitely did not initiate. And I haven't heard from him since, except for a random text here and there, checking in about my dad or saying he's still processing things. Whatever that means. But that's not even the craziest part. So, fast forward to a few days later. Nina and I are in full vacation mode, getting ready for Cuba. We're packing, making last-minute plans, all that fun stuff. I'm feeling good. Then, out of nowhere, Nina gets a call from her ex-girlfriend. Not just any ex, though this is the one she dated for like 3 years, who broke her heart and practically ghosted her afterward. And guess what? She's suddenly back in the picture. Apparently, she's been lurking on Nina's Facebook since she came out and saw the post where Nina thanked me for saving her life, which, by the way, still makes me cry every time I think about it. Now this ex is all, I've been thinking about us, and I miss you, and I was scared, but I want to give us another shot. Classic ex move, right? But here's the kicker. Nina's actually considering it. I know my immediate reaction was, girl, what? You are better than this. But I also get it. She's been through so much, and this ex was a huge part of her life. Still, I can't shake the feeling that this is going to blow up in her face. I try to be supportive, because that's what best friends do. But I also reminded her that she deserves someone who's going to be there for her without all the past drama and heartbreak. But at the end of the day, it's her life, and I'm not going to tell her what to do. We had a long heart-to-heart about it, and Nina admitted she's scared. She's scared of putting herself out there again, scared of being hurt. But she also feels like this is unfinished business. So, we'll see what happens there. I'm just crossing my fingers that it doesn't turn into a disaster. But let's be real, life doesn't exactly have the best track record of staying peaceful for long. Anyway, we're still going to Cuba, and honestly, I can't wait to get away from all this chaos for a bit. Whether or not her ex comes back into the picture, I'll be there for Nina no matter what. She's my ride or die, and nothing's going to change that. As for me, I've decided I'm not looking for anything serious for a while. After all this drama, I need a break from relationships. Maybe I'll just focus on myself for a while, enjoy some sun, sand, and cocktails, and see where life takes me. Who knows? Maybe I'll meet someone new in Cuba, or maybe I'll just have a blast with my best friend. Until next time, Reddit. P.S. If anyone knows how to politely ghost your ex who's questioning his sexuality without causing a complete meltdown, feel free to drop some advice in the comments. Update 3. So, Nina and I finally made it to Cuba, and let me tell you, it was exactly what we both needed, a tropical escape from all the nonsense back home. The first couple of days were pure bliss. Beautiful beaches, amazing food, and zero drama. We were soaking up the sun, drinking mojitos, and just enjoying each other's company. I thought we were in for a nice, peaceful vacation. But of course, life had other plans. On the third night, we decided to hit up this local beach bar that a few people at our resort had recommended. It was a super chill spot, right on the water, with a little live band playing salsa music. We were having an amazing time dancing, laughing, and just forgetting about all the crap waiting for us back home. That's when things started to get interesting. So, Nina's ex, the one who called her right before we left, was blowing up her phone. Text after text, mixed signals galore. 1 minute it's, I miss you. The next minute it's, I need more time to figure things out. You know, the classic emotional whiplash. Nina was getting more and more agitated, and by the time we were halfway through our drinks, she had officially crossed into rage texting territory. Now, I'll admit I probably should have been the voice of reason and told her to chill, but instead, I was hyping her up. Like, yeah, tell her how you really feel. Because honestly, I was sick of seeing Nina hurt by this girl. I guess tequila makes me a bit of a bad influence. Woman shrugging, then wait for it. This random girl from across the bar walks over and asks if we're okay. Turns out, she overheard us talking, which, in retrospect, we were definitely not being quiet about, and recognized Nina. Like, recognized her from social media. Apparently, this girl used to date Nina's ex too, before Nina was even in the picture. Small world. Huh? At first, it was kind of awkward, but then we all started talking, and she was so cool. We spent the next hour or so swapping stories about this ex and realizing just how much of a mind game playing queen she really is. It was like a therapy session with drinks. And let me tell you, this girl, let's call her Maria, was a total vibe. She had this carefree, no-nonsense attitude that was infectious. Somehow, by the end of the night, we'd formed this weird little trio. And I don't know if it was the alcohol or just the magic of Cuba, but Maria and Nina started getting pretty flirty. Like, the chemistry was undeniable. And I was just sitting there like, is this happening? Am I witnessing the start of a vacation romance? Spoiler alert, I totally was. The next couple of days, Nina and Maria were inseparable. It was cute, honestly. I was just happy to see Nina smiling and laughing again after everything she'd been through. They weren't talking about the future or making any big declarations of love. It was just fun and light, and exactly what Nina needed after all the ex-drama. But of course, because nothing in my life can just go smoothly, the universe decided to throw another wrench into the mix. Guess who shows up at our resort, completely unannounced? My ex, yep. The guy who was processing things. The guy who I hadn't heard from in days. The guy who I thought I'd ghosted for good. He's standing there, in the lobby of our resort, like he just casually decided to hop on a flight to Cuba. I couldn't believe it. My first thought was, did this dude seriously stalk me to a whole different country? My second thought was, How the hell did he even find out where we were staying? Apparently, he'd seen some pictures Nina posted on Instagram because of course she tagged the resort and decided he needed to talk to me in person. He was all, I needed closure. And I've been thinking a lot. And I was like, dude, closure? Really? You couldn't have just sent an email? So there I am, standing in the middle of this beautiful Cuban resort, arguing with my ex, while Nina and Maria are off somewhere probably sipping cocktails by the pool. And the conversation just went in circles. He kept saying how sorry he was for accusing me of cheating, how he didn't handle things right, but then he drops another bomb on me. He's still confused about his sexuality, but he's convinced that I'm the only one who can help him figure it out. Like, he legit said, "You're the only person I trust to help me through this." I was stunned. How did this become my responsibility? Why does my vacation suddenly feel like an episode of some twisted reality show? I told him, as nicely as I could, that I couldn't be the person to help him with this. I'm not a therapist, and honestly, I've got my own life to figure out. I felt bad for him in a way. He seemed genuinely lost, but I couldn't let myself get sucked back into his drama. I said goodbye and walked away, leaving him standing there in the lobby. After that, I didn't see him again for the rest of the trip, thank God. I have no idea what he did, but I assume he went back home and is hopefully working through whatever he needs to work through on his own. The rest of the trip was amazing. Nina and Maria kept things casual, but I could see there was something real there. I don't know what'll happen between them once we're back home, but whatever it is, I hope it's something that makes Nina happy. She deserves it after all the crap she's been through. Update 4. So, after that insane encounter with my ex in Cuba, I came back home ready for a fresh start. I was done with drama, done with unexpected surprises, and fully prepared to take a breather from all the madness. But, apparently, the universe wasn't quite finished with me yet. The day after I got back, I received a call from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to pick up. On the other end was a voice I hadn't heard in years, Nina's mom. Now, if you remember, Nina's family is super conservative and, for the most part, had rejected her when she came out. So hearing from her mom was a shock. Her mom started with some awkward small talk, but eventually, she got to the point. Nina's dad had a heart attack. He was in the hospital, and things weren't looking good. Her mom said Nina wasn't answering her calls and asked if I knew where she was. I immediately felt a knot in my stomach. Nina had told me she hadn't spoken to her parents since the coming out bombshell, and I wasn't sure how she'd take the news. But one thing was clear, she needed to know. I found Nina at our favorite coffee shop, scrolling through her phone and laughing at something Maria had sent her. I sat down and gently broke the news. I could see the panic flash across her face, followed by a wave of emotion she couldn't quite hide. She wasn't close with her dad, but still, it was her dad. That night, we drove to the hospital. Maria tagged along for support, even though she and Nina were keeping things casual, at least on the surface. When we arrived, it was awkward to say the least. Nina's mom didn't even look at Maria, she just stared straight ahead, eyes glassy and tired. But the real bombshell came when Nina's dad woke up. The man was weak, pale, barely able to speak, but as soon as he saw Nina, something shifted. He grabbed her hand, looked her dead in the eyes, and said, "I'm sorry." Just like that. No grand speech, no explanation, just those two words. And Nina? She broke down. It was like years of tension, heartache, and resentment just cracked open right there. She cried harder than I'd ever seen her cry before, and to my shock, her mom joined in, holding them both in this messy, teary, fragile hug. Maria and I stood off to the side, not knowing what to do with ourselves. It was surreal, like watching some movie play out in front of me. But here's where things get really intense. Later that night, as we were leaving the hospital, Nina got a call from her ex, the one who'd been messing with her head for weeks. Now, if you remember, this girl had been stringing Nina along, dropping all kinds of confusing texts and basically toying with her emotions. But this time, she wasn't calling to beg for Nina back. She was calling to let her know that she'd been engaged to someone else this whole time. Yeah, you read that right. The whole time she was texting Nina, telling her she missed her and wanted to give things another shot. She was engaged. Apparently, she'd gotten cold feet about the engagement, which was why she'd been reaching out to Nina, but now, she decided to go through with it and just wanted to clear the air. Nina's face went from shock to anger to laughter. Yeah, she laughed. Like this deep, bitter, almost crazed laughter. And honestly, I think it was because, at that moment, she realized just how done she was with all the BS. She told her ex to lose her number, hung up, and that was that. The next few days were a whirlwind. Nina's dad started to recover, and while things between her and her family were far from perfect, there was at least some semblance of healing happening. Nina was still figuring out how to navigate it all, but for the first time in years, she felt like maybe, just maybe, there was hope for a relationship with her parents. As for Maria, well, that night after the hospital and the call from the ex, something shifted between her and Nina. Maybe it was the intense emotions of the day, or maybe it was the realization that Nina deserved someone who wasn't playing mind games. Whatever it was, they had this deep conversation, the kind that changes things. And though they'd both been keeping things light before, by the time the sun rose, they weren't just casual anymore. They were together. And me? I was still feeling like a spectator in a soap opera, waiting for my own drama to sneak back in. But, to my surprise, things stayed calm for once. My ex never reached out again, thank God, and I haven't heard a peep from him since Cuba. I guess he finally got his closure.